All right, welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at a very specific piece of hardware that solves a really universal headache in the AV world.
Hmm.
We've got the spec sheets for the PureLink HT140 U RX. It's a 4K 60 HD base distribution system.
Which sounds very technical.
It does. And I guess the mission today is to figure out why a pro installer would use something like this instead of, just buying a longer HDMI cable.
It's a really good question because you see HDBaseT and it just screams like enterprise gear.
Oh,
But it really just comes down to physics.
yeah.
HDMI cables are great, but they just have a hard limit on distance. The signal dies fast.
Right. After about 15, maybe 20 feet, things get weird. You get sparkles or just nothing. But these specs, they're claiming this thing can push a full 4K signal 120 meters.
Yeah.
I mean, that's nearly 400 feet.
It is. And for 1080p, it's even further, up to like 490 feet. But honestly, the distance isn't even the most impressive part. It's what's in that signal. The spec sheet says 4K 60 4.4.4.
Okay, I see that number, 4.4.4, thrown around a lot with high-end stuff. For the listener who just wants a good picture, why should they care about that?
So it's all about color information. Most streaming stuff you watch is 4.2.0, which means it's throwing away a ton of color data to save bandwidth.
Uh-huh.
4.4.4 means zero compression. Every single pixel gets its own full color data. If you're using a PC for digital signage, for example, red text on a black background looks perfectly sharp. Without it, it gets blurry.
So this is basically a giant lossless pipe for the signal stretched across a football field. But here's what gets me. If you have a receiver box 400 feet away, mounted behind a TV, don't you need to get power to it?
You would think so.
Yeah.
And that's a nightmare for installers.
Totally.
But that's where the PureLink feature comes in. Power over cable, the receiver unit, the RX, it doesn't even have a power jack. It draws all the electricity it needs straight from the transmitter through that one Ethernet cable.
Oh, that is genuinely useful. So the TV side of the install stays completely clean,
Yeah.
no extra wires. Okay, let's talk about the smart side of this. The docs say it supports HDR10 Plus and Dolby Vision, fine. But it also lists, 32 selectable ED tables? Be honest, is that not complete overkill?
It sounds like it, right? Until you get the black screen of death.
Ah,
ED is that digital handshake. The TV tells the source, hey, I can handle 4K HDR, but with long cables or splitters, sometimes that handshake just fails. The source panics and sends a low-res signal or nothing at all.
the dreaded handshake failure. I've been there.
We all have. With 32 tables, you're not asking them to play nice, you're forcing it.
Yeah.
You're telling the source you're connected to a 4K Dolby display, now send the right signal. It's a troubleshooting lifesaver.
Gotcha. And speaking of troubleshooting, the connections on this thing, for a box that's only about 5 inches wide, it's pretty dense. You've got HDMI, HDBaseT, but why the Phoenix connectors for audio?
That's for audio de-embedding. So imagine a sports bar. The projector they're using has, Terrell speakers.
Yeah.
Or no speakers.
Right.
This lets you keel the audio right out of the HDMI stream at the receiver and plug it straight into a local amplifier and speakers.
While the video keeps going to the screen, that makes a ton of sense. And I see it does IR and RS-232 extension too.
Yeah, of course. Because if your Blu-ray player is in a closet 300 feet away, your remote control isn't going to work. This just passes those commands right back down the line.
So if you put it all together, for about $300, you're buying a box that cheats the physical limits of copper, powers itself from the other end, and fakes the digital handshake to make sure it all just works.
That's the elevator pitch, yeah. It's infrastructure. When it's doing its job, you're supposed to forget it even exists.
It's just wild. It really highlights how fragile our digital world is. We obsess over the screen's resolution, but we never think about this invisible negotiation happening in the walls just to get a picture there. It makes you wonder how much other invisible tech is just quietly running our lives, solving problems we don't even know we have.
Probably a lot more than we'd be comfortable knowing.
Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive. We'll catch you on the next one.